Hello out there, Casual Fanatics. Jeremy here. I am back, y'all! Full force, full energy, full tone. Hell yeah. And welcome back to Fun 5e Builds. I'm so glad to be back, Casual Fanatics. I'm so glad to finally have my voice back. Yes! Anyway, I periscoped this last week, kind of the setup for this. This is a kind of a special Fun 5e Builds because instead of doing 3d6 in order, since I have now tabled that, I decided I was going to change it up a little bit, do various different possible setups for rolling characters based partially on... well, actually, partially on various different suggestions from this book here. Yes, I have brought Pathfinder into 5e. Tremble in Fear. And what I came up with is, well, you can see the character sheet right there. This is the product of the character that I rolled on Periscope last week on the 24d6 dice pool rules. And I separated out what various different dice I was going to use and for each particular stat. Used that to distribute out stat points from the dice that I had rolled and came up with what I have here. For those of you who did not see the dice rolling process, I, again, have started to Periscope these for the sake of transparency. I will include the link to this Periscope video down in the description below. So check that out if you want to know how I got there. Full transparency here. Now, the first thing you may notice is that this character's name is Megane, which, by the way, in anime terms is kind of the male version of the trope Meganeko, which is best illustrated basically by, well, Bayonetta. Basically, very, very attractive, glasses-wearing people. This is the male version of that. Some examples of that would be Cho Hakai from Gensomaden Sayuki, or Kyoya Otori from Orin High School Host Club, both of which are exhibits A and B onto why my bisexuality is justified. And you're probably kind of wondering why I would choose that for this character's name. Well, let's look along the left-hand side of the character sheet, and I'll show you why. Let's take a look at the stats. First off, we have an 8 strength. Not that great strength. Not a very strong character, so -1 mod to strength. Dexterity, 10. About average. Constitution, 12. Gotta have some liveliness in your characters. Intelligence, and these are after racial bonuses, by the way. Intelligence, 20. Very, very intelligent motherfucker. Genius level intelligence. I think the general rule for intelligence scores is if you multiply it by 10, that's approximately what their IQ would be. So 200 IQ person. Although IQ is considered to be not that great of an indicator of intelligence in this day and age, but yeah, anyway. Wisdom, a little bit above average. Wisdom, 11. Charisma, though, 20 as well. So, very intelligent, high charisma. This is basically one genius pretty boy. So, what form? What would this Megane look like? I'm just kidding. Just imagine a really attractive, well, I was going to say Bishonen, but at his age, Biseinen would be more accurate, with glasses. Again, like Cho Hakai, like Kyoya Otori. In fact, for this kind of character, Cho Hakai is actually a pretty good depiction since he is a magic user. So, yeah, hyper-intelligent pretty boy. I did mention this was after racials. I did give the half-elf race, which of course is I'm trying to remember. It's +2 to 1 stat, and then +1 to no, it's +1 to any 2 of your choice is what it is. So in this case, I think I had actually rolled an 11 for Constitution and a no, one of these stats got a +2. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it was like +2 to Charisma, and then +1 to any 2 stats of your choice, in lieu of, +2 to specific stats. And I think I gave the +1 to Constitution and Intelligence. So Charisma was a base 18, Intelligence was a base 19, Constitution was a base 11, and I just bumped them up to get the next modifier up. Since he is a wizard, 3rd level wizard, because I wanted to get an archetype in on him, he's not... Armor class is not fantastic. In fact, armor class is terrible. It's 10. So, not very durable guy. But his hit points are, well, for this level of wizard, not terrible. 17. Survivability is still low, so you definitely want to keep this guy in the back. Background for this 3rd level wizard would, by the way, Evoker School, Evocation. Background, I made him a Wizard's Apprentice Sage, because he is a young guy, and hot. Chaotic Good alignment, because, well, he is noble-hearted, but he's a little free-spirited. And, of course, as half-elves, he still has a 30 speed, so he can move around pretty quickly. He just can't move into battle. Personality traits. I actually rolled these. You can actually take a D8 for personality traits and then a D6 for ideals, bonds, and flaws and roll them randomly, which in this case I did. Didn't show those rolls on camera. I apologize for that. But, so here's what I rolled for personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. Personality traits. I'm willing to listen to every side of an argument before I make my own judgment. So even though he is of average wisdom, he does have enough presence of mind to know that not everything is what it seems at first glance. Ideals. I rolled self-improvement. The goal of a life of study is the betterment of oneself. Because he is chaotic good, he believes if he makes himself a better person, he will in turn be able to help others become better. And, of course, being a wizard's apprentice, a sage, learning the arts to possibly teach other people, that is also an important goal for him. Bonds. It is my duty to protect my students. So should he in turn take on apprentices, he will make sure that they are pointed in the right direction and have the best guidance possible so that they don't accidentally fucking kill themselves. And flaws, a very common flaw for people with high intelligence, I should know. I overlook obvious solutions in favor of complicated ones. Or as my catchphrase commonly is, that would be too easy. So, let's take a look at what we've got here as far as is equipment. As far as equipment goes, there's not really any weapons that he's perceptive with. Most of what he's going to be doing is casting spells. So I just gave him a regular old ordinary quarterstaff. He is proficient with it, so he does get a proficiency bonus of +2. However, he has a -1 to strength mod, so his attack bonus is only 1. Meaning, he's probably not going to be attacking with his staff very often. Probably only in desperate situations. And if he does, well, the max damage he can do per turn is, well, 7. Unless he crits. If he crits, then I believe the maximum damage he could do is 14. Still not a lot of damage. So he's still going to be casting spells much more often. I went ahead and put his spell save DCs up here. His save DC right now is a 15, and his spell attack is a 7, which is really good for 3rd level. Let's take a look at all of his skills over here on the left-hand side. I know I'm kind of jumping around the page willy-nilly. Of course, his primaries are Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Perception, and Religion, with Arcana, History, and Religion being at a +7. He is a pretty insightful person as well, so his Investigation is a 6. And he is also, because he is such a pretty person, he is capable of being very persuasive or deceptive or intimidating should he so choose. And his by extension, his passive perception is a 16. So, languages, he is half-elf, so he does get Common and Elvish by default. I would think that most of his students would be dwarves or fey creatures. So he knows Dwarvish to speak to his the dwarven people who want to become wizards as well, and also various different fey creatures that have come to learn magic. Now let's look at the fun stuff, and if you're not full screen, you may not be able to read this very well. I apologize for that. This is really about the only place that I could put all this stuff where it would actually be legible. So, features. Of course, as a half-elf, he has dark vision and fey ancestry. He has, since he is a sage, he has researcher ability, which means he can find information if he does not outright know it. If he doesn't know it, he knows where he can find it. Of course, he is a spellcaster, so he has cantrips and spells. He is a ritual caster. Arcane Focus, I believe I gave his Arcane Focus just to be like a crystal that he wears around his neck, because that's kind of how I prefer to have Arcane Focuses. Once per day, after short rest, you can recover up to 2 levels of spell slots of 6th level or lower. Since he doesn't have a lot of spell slots, that's fine. In fact, since he's 3rd level, I believe he can only use I believe he has precisely enough spell slots to use the spells that he has. Sculpt spells. Whenever you cast an evocation spell that targets other creatures you can see, choose a number of them equal to 1 plus the spell's level to automatically pass their save, and they take no damage if a successful save results in half damage. So basically, if a target is accidentally going to hit one of your allies when you're trying to attack someone, you can magically make it swerve around them. That is an incredible ability to have. So let's take a look at the spells here. At the spells that we have here. Charm Person, because he is a very pretty person. Target makes a wisdom save or is charmed by you. Of course, they have to beat the spell save DC. Has advantage on... The person does have advantage on it if it is being fought against. And what that basically does is, if there's someone that you're not actively fighting against, you can make this person you can basically make this person act like your buddy, although once the spell ends, he knows he's been mind tricked. So, kind of a risk reward there, because you don't want to try and do that on too powerful a person, because if they do manage to fail their save and be charmed by you, once they come out of it, they're gonna be pissed. And you are squishy. So you might want to stay behind the fighter when you do that spell. Uh, Firebolts, of course, archetypal casting fire, may ignite flammable objects. That is a key component about that. So basically, if you were fighting in a forest, you are not going to want to use that spell. Alternatively, if you are fighting in a cave and there are a bunch of torches that have been extinguished, you can light them again. Flaming Spear. Create a 5-foot diameter sphere of flame. Any creature ending its turn adjacent to the sphere takes 2d6 fire damage, dex save for half. Sphere sheds bright light for 20 feet and dim light for 20 more feet. Use a bonus action to move the sphere up to 30 feet. It may jump 5-foot tall barriers and float over 10-foot wide pits. If you ram a creature with it, it saves versus the sphere's damage and the sphere stops moving. So basically you can actually shove the ball into somebody, but just know the sphere is going to stop there at the creature that it hits. But they are going to take the 2d6 damage unless they dex save. Then they only take 1d6 damage. Or the equivalent thereof. Now, since Megane does not have much in the way of armor, of course, one of the nigh prerequisite spells for any wizard who has absolute shit AC, Mage Armor. You know how much I love this spell. I've weaponized it many, many a time on builds in the past, and this is no different. Largely because, let's face it, he fucking needs it. Although with no dex mod whatsoever, your AC still basically becomes 13, so this may be a case where at later levels you might want to devote some training into dexterity, especially on this character, considering that charisma and intelligence are already pretty damn high. So you may want to focus, take a few levels, eschew feats, and go for points into dex. Mage Hand, classic cantrip. So not going to say much about that because if you play D&D, you know about Mage Hand. I don't need to tell you twice. Melf's Acid Arrow. Make a ranged spell attack versus one target. So that would be a d20 plus 7 in his case. On hit, target takes 4d4 acid damage plus 2d4 acid damage at the end of its next turn. On a miss, it deals only half as much initial damage, so basically the equivalent of 2d4 initial damage, and no follow-up damage. And of course, you can add more and more d4s of damage to both initial and follow-up as you add on spellcaster levels and, by extension, spell slots. Give me a second. I've been drinking tea like crazy over the last couple of weeks. Can you blame me? Scorching Ray, another classic cast fire. Fire 3 rays at targets. You make ranged spell attack for each. Each one deals 2d6 fire damage. So you can just go bang, bang, bang. Shocking Grasp. Make a melee spell attack against your target. I believe I've used this before on various different builds, like say the Sith build that I had for Jedi versus Sith from the special for that. If you haven't seen that one, check the backlogs and check it out, because I made both a Jedi and a Sith. I had a lot of fun doing that, and I hummed the Star Wars theme myself, entirely by myself. I don't think enough of you appreciate that. Thunderwave, of course, another classic spell. Cast it out, and each creature in the area takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed away from it, 10 feet away. Of course, con save for no push and half damage. damage. And keep in mind, again, most of these spells that I am showing here are evocation spells, which means that they are subject to sculpt spell. And you can use sculpt spell. It does not say it's a once a day thing. It says whenever you can. It says when you cast an evocation spell that targets other creatures you can see, which all of these spells are. So you can sculpt spell to curve around your foes. You can basically create a dead spot in your Thunder Wave where it kind of splits out and then converges. Tell me that's not awesome. And last but not least, Witch Bolt, because why not? I mean, it's just lightning damage after lightning damage after lightning damage, and as you add more spell slots on it, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and pain. And well, yeah, that's it. That is the list. That's yeah, that's everything that there is. That's Megane. The 24d6 Wunderkind, pretty boy of high intelligence. So this is, I really, as much boring as 3d6 was to me, I think trying to figure out how to make the 24d6 pool work and what points to put where to create a specific kind of a character, that I actually had fun with. And again, I am going to use different methods every time to try and keep things a little bit fresher for some of these videos, so that way everything's not just, the same all the time. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below, tell your friends, comment, subscribe, all the wonderful things. I want you to be a casual fanatic. Please join us. We are over 100 again. We have 1/10 of the subscribers of Ace of Hearts Gaming, but we will catch up eventually. Yeah, that was an unrealistic goal, I know. Anyway, thank you for watching. I am Jeremy. This has been Fun 5e Builds, and until next time, keep it casual, y'all.